Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a story that truly touched my heart. A story about kindness, resilience, and finding strength even when things get tough. Have you ever gone out of your way to help someone, only to feel let down or even hurt in return? It's a common feeling, right? Sometimes it feels like being kind just opens you up to more pain. But what if true compassion isn't about getting thanked? What if it's about protecting your own spirit and refusing to let the world make you bitter? Let's dive into a tale that might just change the way you see things. Imagine a peaceful monastery, tucked away beside a tranquil river. In this serene place lived an old monk, renowned throughout the valley for his incredibly gentle spirit. Every single morning, before the first rays of sunlight fully touched the earth, and long before the other monks even stirred, he'd make his way down to the riverbank. He walked barefoot, carrying a simple clay pot. The air was always cool and fresh, carrying the scent of damp earth and blooming things. Mist would dance over the water like a whisper of a dream, and the soft chirping of waking birds filled the silence. This was his sacred ritual. He cherished these moments, the deep calm, the beautiful simplicity, the quiet, sacred rhythm of life itself. He'd kneel, close his eyes, offer a prayer of gratitude, and carefully scoop clear, fresh water into his pot. This was how his everyday began, with stillness, with peace, and with profound thanks. But one particular morning, this peaceful routine was unexpectedly broken. As the monk leaned down, ready to fill his pot, he noticed tiny ripples disturbing the otherwise calm water. There, struggling in the current, was a small scorpion, desperately trying to fight its way against the flow. The monk's heart immediately stirred with compassion. "Oh, you poor creature," he murmured softly, his voice full of concern. Without a second's hesitation, he reached his hand into the cool river and gently lifted the struggling scorpion from the water. But the moment his fingers closed around it, sting, the scorpion's tail lashed out, piercing his skin sharply. The monk flinched, the sudden pain making him pull his hand back, and the little creature slipped from his grasp, falling back into the river, still struggling for its life. He looked at his hand, which was already starting to swell and throb. He took a deep, calming breath. For a fleeting moment, a frown creased his brow, a natural reaction to the pain. But then, his expression softened once more. He looked back at the river, where the scorpion was still fighting desperately against the relentless current, and then, he reached down again. He extended his hand, ready to help once more, and sting. This time, the pain felt even sharper, a more intense jab. The scorpion fell back into the water for a second time. A man who had been walking nearby, observing the scene, shouted out, "Old man, stop, don't you see, it's completely hopeless. That thing will only hurt you again and again." The monk, however, simply turned his gaze toward the man and offered a faint, gentle smile. He didn't say a word in response. Instead, he calmly tore a broad, sturdy leaf from a nearby tree. He carefully placed the leaf underneath the scorpion, and with incredible patience and care, he gently lifted it from the water one last time. This time, he carried it safely, holding it away from his skin, all the way to the shore, and carefully set it down upon a smooth rock. The scorpion, finally free and safe, quickly scurried away into the tall grass. The monk then rinsed his stung, throbbing hand in the cool river and sat down quietly, watching the water flow, his heart clearly at peace. The traveler, still utterly bewildered by what he had just witnessed, approached the monk. "Why?" he asked, his voice filled with confusion. "Why would you save it after it stung you not once, but twice? Why would you keep helping something that only causes you pain?" The monk looked up at him, his eyes calm and steady, holding a deep wisdom. His voice was soft, yet it carried the undeniable weight of truth. "My friend," he began, "it is the scorpion's nature to sting and it is my nature to save." He dipped his still sore hand back into the cool water. "The scorpion acts according to what it knows, fear, instinct, survival. But I act according to what I know, compassion. If I let its nature change mine, I will lose myself." The man stood silently, his initial anger and confusion slowly melting into a deep reflection. The monk continued, his eyes following the river's slow, steady current. "Pain passes," he said, "but if we let anger replace kindness, we build a prison within our own hearts. I would rather be stung 100 times than let cruelty change who I am." He offered another gentle smile and then slowly rose, lifting his now filled clay pot of water. "Kindness is my true strength. It is not weakness to remain gentle, it is in fact, the greatest courage there is." With that, he bowed politely to the traveler and began walking back toward the monastery. his steps unhurried, his heart still radiating peace. The traveler watched him go, his mind stirring and shifting, much like the water at his feet. He had come to the river that day to wash the dust from his road-weary feet, but instead, he had washed something profound from his very soul. From that day forward, he found himself returning to the river often. Sometimes he would discover small creatures tangled in reeds, or caught in the shallow waters tiny fish, struggling insects, even frightened frogs. Each time he would gently, patiently help them, even when they snapped or kicked in fear. And each time he vividly remembered the monk's profound words. "It is the scorpion's nature to sting. It is my nature to save." Slowly, gradually, the man came to a powerful realization. Compassion wasn't just a fleeting reaction, it was a conscious, deliberate choice. It was a true strength of spirit that no amount of pain, no amount of hardship, could ever take away from him. Weeks passed, and the incredible story of the monk and the scorpion began to spread quietly through the nearby villages. People started telling their children, "Be like the monk by the river, help even when it hurts. Love even when others don't seem to." The monk himself, true to his humble nature, never spoke of the event again. Yet every morning, when he returned to the river, he would smile at the soothing sound of the flowing water and softly whisper to himself, "Pain fades, love remains." He understood deeply that the world would always have its scorpions, those individuals who lash out not necessarily from pure malice, but often from their own fear, their own pain. But he also knew, with unwavering certainty, that true kindness must never depend on the kindness of others. True goodness, he understood, shines brightest when it is truly tested. So, what's the real takeaway here? The profound moral of this story is simple yet powerful. Protect your heart, not your pride. In life, there will always be people who sting you. Some will do it with harsh words, some with unkind actions, and some simply because they don't understand the beautiful, gentle nature of your heart. But your true power, your ultimate strength, lies not in trying to avoid or pain, it lies in making the deliberate choice not to let that pain turn you bitter. Stay kind, stay gentle, stay absolutely true to your own compassionate nature. Because the very moment you let anger replace compassion, you surrender your greatest strength, your most precious gift. So, when life inevitably stings you, don't strike back. Don't let their nature define yours. Instead, take a deep breath. Be still. Remember the monk by the river. Let your nature remain light. Let your heart stay soft. And let your kindness flow like the river itself, steady, healing, and utterly unstoppable. If this story resonated with you, if it touched your heart and reminded you of the power within you, please take a moment to share it with someone who needs to hear that kindness is, indeed, the greatest strength. And if you'd love to hear more stories that bring peace, courage, and understanding into your life, gently hit that subscribe button and join our community. Let compassion be the current that carries us all forward. Thank you for watching, and remember to always keep your heart kind, no matter what the world brings. We'll see you next time.